The definition of overwhelm is to exist in such great amounts that someone or something cannot deal with them. You can be overwhelmed by emotions and overwhelmed by responsibilities. When it just feels like too much and you're struggling with stress, difficulty with motivation, resentment, frustration, or anxiety, you might be struggling with overwhelm. Nowadays, it's common to have overloaded schedules and fill up any empty time that you can with trying to decompress, but it doesn't always help. And you might still struggle with those feelings of overwhelm in the background or when Monday morning comes around. In this episode, I'll be sharing what to do when you're feeling overwhelmed. This is episode number 72, What to Do When You're Overwhelmed. Welcome to Calmly Coping. My name is Tati, and I'm a licensed therapist and coach specializing in high-functioning anxiety. I help high achievers overcome high-functioning anxiety so they can finally stop overthinking everything. If this topic resonates with you, then please like this video and subscribe so you get notified whenever I post new videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. So in this episode, I'm going to be sharing 7 things to do when you're feeling overwhelmed so that you can have a roadmap to help you to start to declutter your mind and finally start to feel calmer. So first, what I want you to do is do a brain dump of everything that's stressing you out or overwhelming you. This can be a physical list where you're writing things down and just getting them out of your head, or this can be digital. You can type it on your computer or put it into your phone. Whatever helps you, but getting things out of your head and onto paper or into some digital format can really help you to work through what's actually bothering you, what's actually stressing you out or overwhelming you, so that it's not swirling around in your head and just turning into those background thoughts that are affecting you and leading to more stress and anxiety throughout your day. So I suggest just doing a brain dump of whatever's on your mind and getting it out as that first step to kind of process and work through what is actually resulting in this overwhelm and bringing that to awareness, because that can make a big difference in helping you to feel as though you have more awareness of what's contributing to your overwhelm so you can take the next step forward. Next, I want you to prioritize and focus on what's truly important. Especially when you're a high achiever, it can be common to put high expectations on yourself and expect that you do all the things and that you do all the things perfectly. And this isn't always realistic, especially when you have a lot of responsibilities and things on your plate. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, I think it can help to reassess and reprioritize what's really important. I like to do this periodically. If I find myself feeling overwhelmed, I'll look at my to-do list for the day or for the week and my Google Calendar, which I'll usually time block out, and assess if I'm not able to get to everything that I had planned for. Well, what's really important? What is essential that I get done this week? And what is something that I can either put off for a point in the future or that I can delete from my list or from my plan entirely? When you're able to prioritize, whether it is by time sensitivity or importance or any other factors that are significant, that can really help you to put things in perspective and let go of the things that might not be as important or time sensitive so you can focus on the things that are. Next, what I want you to do is to take the path of least resistance. This means doing things in the easiest way possible. Like I mentioned before, it's easy to have expectations to do all the things and do all the things perfectly and maybe go above and beyond because you're an overachiever. But this can result in adding unnecessary stress and pressure onto yourself that's just going to make you feel even more overwhelmed. So when I talk about taking the path of least resistance, that can be making things more enjoyable. Like maybe if you have to do some monotonous computer work, playing some music that's going to help you to feel better and bring up your mood. Or it can also mean letting go of some additional things that you're going to add to a project that we're going to make it, super special, but really aren't necessary in the long run. Or it can mean just letting go of the fluff or extra things that might add more stress, but it's not going to make or break whatever it is that you're working on. Taking the path of least resistance can help you to just focus on the essentials and decrease that overwhelm by removing some of that pressure you might be unnecessarily adding onto yourself. It's okay to focus on what's essential, and it's okay to not always be in this place of constant high achievement. It's not a reflection on who you are as a person, but it's a reflection of where you are in this moment at time and how much energy you can realistically devote to what's happening. Next, which is really important, is that I want you to ask for help and get more comfortable asking for help. When you are a high achiever and you put all of this pressure on yourself, it's really easy to get stuck in this place of feeling as though you need to do it all and you need to do it all yourself. And a lot of times it can become into have this limiting belief that you need to do it all on your own. And if you can't do it on your own, then that means that there's something wrong with you. This is completely false. And it's impossible to do all the things on your own. It's so important and essential to ask for help. And this can be in any way that feels right for you in this moment. It could be asking for help from a partner, a family member, from a coworker, from your supervisor, from an employee, whatever it is and whatever the situation is. Maybe it's asking for your parent to help with watching a child, or asking for a colleague to take on any additional work that you're not able to do, or for a supervisor to lighten your workload, or asking a partner to help out with doing some chores at home so you can devote more time to work because this is a busy time for you. Any of those things of asking for help can really help to decrease your level of overwhelm so that you're not doing it all on your own and you're able to focus on what's important in this moment of time for you and in this season of your life. And you're able to delegate wherever you're able to. Now, I want to take a quick break to talk about my free upcoming 5-day challenge, How to Relax and Let Go. This is a training series exclusively for high achievers struggling with high-functioning anxiety, where you will learn how to finally relax and let go so you can feel calmer and more at ease. It's all taking place Monday, November 8th to Friday, November 12th, 2021. The lessons are pre-recorded and each assignment will only take 20 minutes per day total, and you will receive a new video lesson and actionable workbook each day of the challenge. You will learn topics such as how to stop overthinking everything so you can finally start relaxing, and how to let go of some of the pressure of yourself so you can feel more at ease. You can learn more and register for free by going to calmlycoping.com/challenge. So now back to the next thing that you should do when you're feeling overwhelmed. This is to set boundaries. So boundaries are super important because they're going to allow you the space to focus on work, let's say if it's during certain hours, and so you can have time to recharge and decompress before heading into work for the next day. It can allow you to set maximums. And by this, I mean, is there a maximum number of clients that you are able to meet with during the day? And if you do any more than that, then it's going to be too much, and this is going to result in burnout. Or is it a cutoff time, like I said, for work or for anything else that you feel as though you want to set boundaries with? Maybe it is setting a boundary that you're not going to check your work email on the weekends, or that you're going to let go of any work stress as you finish on Friday afternoon or evening. Now, these can be difficult boundaries to start setting if you're just starting out. So I suggest starting with baby steps and doing what feels comfortable for you, and even just focusing on one thing at a time that you can change, and understanding what it is that your limits are and what do you need to feel as though you can recharge before the next day begins. And that's a good place to identify what are those boundaries that are helpful for you to set between your work and maybe home responsibilities or anything else that's causing you that overwhelm, and the time that you need to rest and recharge. Setting these boundaries in place are going to prevent you from going from overwhelm to burnout, which burnout is when you're in this place of feeling as though you can't do anymore, you can't take on anymore, and it's just too much, and potentially leading into a place of anxiety and depression. Now, if you're interested in learning more about why high functioning anxiety leads to burnout, then I have an entire podcast episode on that. If you are watching this, you can click in the top corner, whichever corner that is. And if you are listening to the podcast, I'll leave a link in the show notes. So the next thing that I want you to do if you're struggling with overwhelm is to make self-care a non-negotiable. Self-care is even more important when you're feeling overwhelmed. And it might seem counterintuitive because you might feel as though, well, I don't have time to take care of myself. I'm already too overwhelmed. However, it's really important to fill up your cup first so that you don't head into that place of burnout that I was talking about before. So some examples of self-care can be doing things such as meditation, journaling, going for a walk, or taking breaks throughout your day, even if it's getting up and going to the bathroom or walking to a coffee shop, whatever it is that helps you to just take a step away and take time for yourself. Now, what I want to emphasize is that consistency is more beneficial when it comes to self-care rather than doing, like, let's say, an entire day of self-care once a week. The reason that consistency is important is because you are practicing and taking regular time to care for yourself rather than pushing through, ignoring your body's signs that it's giving you to take a rest and take a step back, and then just taking that time once a week when you're just at your wit's end. So taking that consistent time for self-care, even if it's just 10 minutes at a time, can be really helpful when you're feeling overwhelmed. So some tips to help you to integrate self-care into your routine could be to start with small steps. Make an intentional time. So let's say if you know that every day at 2 p.m. you want to take a break, make sure that you're setting an alarm and taking that intentional time for lunch away from work or for a walk around the block, whatever it is, creating that space for yourself and just starting with one additional time a day. If you're not practicing any self-care right now, just start with one a day and move it up from there when you start to feel comfortable as though you're getting into the groove of things. Don't try to add too much at once because that's just going to result in more overwhelm, and that's the opposite of what you want. Now, I hope that you found these tips for what to do when you're overwhelmed helpful. Your action tip is to go through and follow these tips one by one. Do a brain dump and identify what is it that's really resulting in your overwhelm. Then prioritize and assess what is the most important thing for you to focus on right now. Then do what you can to take the path of least resistance and simplify things as much as possible. Ask for help and delegate where possible, and set boundaries such as maximums and cutoff times to make your schedule more manageable. And lastly, make self-care a non-negotiable and do what you can to prioritize that self-care when you're even more overwhelmed so that you can ensure that you're not headed towards a road of burnout. If you found this episode helpful, I would love to hear your thoughts. You can leave me a comment below if you're watching on YouTube and let me know what helps you when you're feeling overwhelmed. And if you're listening to the podcast episode, then please leave me a review on iTunes letting me know your thoughts because it really helps me out. If you're interested in getting more support, you can join my free Facebook community for high achievers with high functioning anxiety called Calmly Coping. You can learn more and join for free by going to calmlycoping.com/group. And while you wait for next week's episode, I have other episodes about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy. So make sure you check out these videos right here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, be calm.